Shout out to this dad. Keep on doing what you do, boss. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about this North Carolina dad who destroyed a school board meeting. Now, for the YouTube censors and the flaggers out there, I don't mean literally destroyed. He didn't go in there with a sledgehammer and start tearing stuff up and throwing things and whatnot. No, but he went in there and verbally destroyed the school board. With respect, he was very calm, cool, and collected, and he articulated himself very well. He expressed his grievance with critical race theory and things of that nature perfectly. Now, before I go any further, let's roll the clip. In this clip, you're going to see what I'm talking about, and I'll place the full thing without my commentary in the description box. But after we get done watching that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what he said there. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents and my deep detail analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
Discrimination resolution, the CRT deal, because it's happening. And as a parent, I speak to other parents. There's a few things that we don't want. I'm biracial. I'm bilingual. I'm multicultural. The fact is, in America, in North Carolina, I can do anything I want. And I teach that to my children. And the person who tells my little pecan-colored kids that they're somehow oppressed based on the color of their skin would be absolutely wrong and absolutely at war with me. And I think that's the same for every parent. What the mask showed us is that the parents, the most powerful group of people in our country, that they're taking back the wheel. Now, obviously, we had to take the wheel back for the mask, but we're taking the wheel back from Washington all the way to Raleigh and into our local school board. Because CRT, all of that, the parents don't want it. It's a big fat lie. There's not one, if you believe in CRT, I want to tell you you're a liar, because that means you look at your black neighbor and say that they're oppressed, and you look at your white neighbor and say that they're evil, regardless of the experience that you've had with them. And we're not going to do that. The parents in the United States of America, right here in North Carolina and Cabarrus County, we know that's not true because we believe the lives we live. The fact is, I've been a business owner right here in North Carolina, and I deal with white people, black people, Hispanic people. My children deal with everybody. And the racism is only happening at the government level and on the media. The fact is, you have racists, and there's like, you can't even find them hardly. You just hear the stories about them. But this is what we're dealing with. The parents are taking the wheel. I have an 8-year-old daughter who is absolutely dynamic, who can do anything. Athletically, intellectually, spiritually, and emotionally, she is a dynamo. And I don't want a man swimming against her in the pool. The fact is, I don't want her playing against boys in soccer. I don't even let my sons rough her up. Do you think I'm going to let your son rough her up? This is what we're talking about. Policy going back to the parents. Because if you think people who love America are willing to fight for it, you haven't met parents yet. Because I'm telling you, parents will go further down any street than anyone who loves their country alone.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that now. Bravo. Hey, that right there was fantastic. I couldn't have said it better myself. I know the video cut off. His name is Brian Echevarria, and he wanted that to be known because he did say his name in that clip, and he also was on Fox News earlier with Harris Faulkner talking about the whole situation, talking about his name and where he lives and all that kind of good stuff. So he's not trying to be just some kind of anonymous figure. He's giving his name and everything else. But he did fantastic. This was really good. And you know what? Just to address the elephant in the room for me, all this critical race theory stuff and the mask stuff, it's kind of awakened a lot of parents. It's awakened them because a lot of parents complain about the schools not teaching their kids properly, or, you know, these kids are graduating, they can't read at all. You got people that are 18 years old, get ready to graduate, or just recently graduated, they're reading on the 3rd grade level. They complain about these things, but the problem, a lot of times, with the education is the parents. That's not always their fault, but a lot of times it is. Because, okay, put it to you this way. If you have a school where a lot of the kids are doing well and a lot of the kids aren't doing well, and you can look at the parental involvement and it pretty much correlates. Like if the parents are involved, if the parents were there at a young age doing flashcards and teach them how to read and how to write a little bit and how to count to 10 into 100, kids that had the early parental guidance as far as education do much better when they're actually in K through 12, public, private, or whatever. But kids that don't generally perform poorly. Okay, they have to have that home interaction, home enforcement at a certain point. So I'm glad that more parents are being more involved. You see, a lot of parents will do the whole thing about the flashcards and whatnot when the kids are small. But then when they get to be in school, they kind of fall off a little bit. And not only are they not involved with their actual work, they're also not involved with the things that they're being taught. All this critical race theory and LGBTQ, A, B, C, D, they're not involved with that kind of stuff. So then the kids are going to school, getting totally brainwashed with no kind of counteraction from the parents at all. And that's a serious problem, big problem. So I'm glad that a lot of parents are stepping up and saying, you know what, enough's enough. And back to the whole mask thing. That was terrible for a lot of kids because you can't socialize properly. You can't really, see each other, see their faces. And it was bad. Not only the masks, but also the virtual learning. Most kids are not going to be able to look at some kind of electronic device and learn like that. It's more of a distraction and or entertainment, same thing, device, than anything else. They're not really learning properly. I saw that the CDC updated their website and they said that kids that are, the first, I guess you would say, directive or recommendation for kids, or standard, pardon me, that's the word. The first standard for kids 24 months old was to have 50 words in their vocabulary. Then they changed it to 30 months at 50 words. So they're acknowledging the developmental delays that this whole lockdown thing has caused. And the parents are seeing it. The parents are having the problem. So now we got to go to the school system, and then we got to figure out what's going on. We got to take our schools back away from Washington and away from the politicians, and more have it be more about the parents and the teachers and the kids, not so much about outside forces and influences that truly don't understand what's happening here and don't have a really vested interest in the result. So I think that's really important. And to talk about that right quick, talk about how this whole thing about racism and whatnot that comes from the government. That's what he said right there was right on point, talking about it really exists in the government and these high-level positions. When we're talking about regular people, regular everyday life is not that way, okay? You may see a racist here and there, but as he was saying, how often do you see them? They got to like go in the woods and find them some kind of way. Remember back in the day, if you right around my age, and close to 40 or something like that, remember Phil Donahue, and they would have on the Klan and stuff like that. You don't see the Klan. Like, when's the last time you saw a Klan member in this outfit just walking around town? Have you ever seen that in your life, in real life? You hear about it on the internet. You hear the government talk about it, but is it a real thing? That's not very common. Every now and again, you see something like that, but that's generally not what's going on. Racism is an uncommon problem that has been viewed as a big problem by the political elite, by the teachers' unions, heads, or whatever, by the big money people, to make us have some kind of class warfare between us as regular people. That's kind of what it feels like, in my humble opinion. So I'm glad that he said that. I'm glad he said that he's biracial and acknowledges the fact that I'm not just black, white, whatever. His last name is Echevarria, so probably some kind of Hispanic, some kind of black, some kind of white, a little bit of whatever. Okay, the most important thing is your behavior, how you treat others, how you treat yourself, how you raise your children. That's very important. And this is important. This is very important to say when you're talking about public K through 12. And a lot of people are saying, you know what, why go to public schools? Why rely on the government school? All this and that and the third. Well, the reality is 75% of mothers in America work. And if that many mothers work, and it's more socially acceptable and more common for women to be stay-at-home moms, then you know that there's a higher level of dads working. So if, let's say, 85, 90% of the dads work, 75% of the mothers work, I mean, at a certain point, who's going to raise the kids? Who's going to teach the kids? You have to have public K through 12 school. The way society is set up right now, you got to have public school. Now, if we were back in the year 1900 and everybody was a farmer, then that's a different story. Okay, you could teach the kids right there on the farm. Okay, how many chickens is right there? You got 1 chicken, 2 chicken, 3 chicken. You understand? But that's not the way things are. That's not the way that life is anymore. You have to adapt to what's going on. So you gotta have public K through 12 school. And beyond that, I'm paying for it regardless. I don't have any children, but I'm still paying my taxes. I'm still getting beat in the head with these taxes, and that's going toward your school systems. So, I mean, why can't we have a say in it? Why must it just be, oh, abandon it? Well, I'm paying my taxes. How can I abandon my taxes? I don't think so. Ain't no refund if I don't have no kids in school, or if my kids graduate, if I had them, ain't gonna be no refund. It's not even the refund if you homeschool. You're still paying the same taxes. So look, check it out. It's my tax money, my tax dollars, and these are my children. I should have a say in what happens here rather than just telling me abandon the whole situation, knowing that's not realistic. So yeah, shout out to my man for standing up for what's right, saying the right thing that I think a lot of parents, regardless of color, it's not even the race thing. People want to say it's a race thing. Oh, it's all about black versus white, whatever. It's not even the race thing. It's about, these kids need to be taught properly. They need to be nurtured properly. They don't need to be indoctrinated, brainwashed, or groomed for some predator to attack them while they're in school or years later when their mind has already been preconditioned for that kind of predator to have have their way with that child that became an adult. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what North Carolina dad said about the school system and CRT and racism and things of that nature? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. I thought that was brilliant. Very well said. Very well done. And shout out to you. Again, his name is Brian Echevarria out there in North Carolina. We need more dads like you. We need more moms like you. People got to step up and take control of their child's education, because if you don't take control of your child's education, someone else will. They'll teach them whatever they want to teach them. And at a certain point, it won't be education. It will be full-blown indoctrination. And we don't want to go down that road, not here in the good old US of A. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.